He grabbed the box so fast it made her fingers sting. It was supposed to be a quick errand. Just in and out before the holiday madness hit full swing. Tiana had been standing in that electronics aisle for 5 minutes, scanning for the last Xerion Z-Pad, the season's must-have gadget. Not for herself, for her nephew. His grades had shot up this year, and this was her promise to him. Her fingers wrapped around the last box. Victory. Then he appeared. Nope. You don't deserve that. A hand, pale and calloused, snatched the box out of her grasp. Tiana froze. At first, she thought it was just another desperate shopper. She opened her mouth to explain that she had grabbed it first. But then he leaned in. "'Cause you're black." The words sliced through the low hum of the busy store. A few heads turned. Not enough. Tiana felt the heat rise in her chest. Not anger. Not yet. Shock. The man, maybe mid-50s, wore a cheap windbreaker and the smug grin of someone who thought the world agreed with him. His eyes dared her to make a scene. "This isn't your kind of product anyway," he added, voice dripping with condescension. "People like you, always reaching for what you can't afford." Behind him, a mother with 2 kids paused mid-step. A young couple whispered. The crowd noticed now. Tiana could feel every gaze, not all sympathetic. Some curious, some cautious. A few faces even seemed to agree with him. She steadied her breath. Her father had taught her that. Control the room, even if the room controls everyone else. "I grabbed it first," she said, calm but firm. "I don't care." He tucked the box under his arm like a trophy. "Go find yourself a discount bin. This is for real customers." The moment stretched. People were watching, but no one moved. Tiana could feel the old, familiar choice pressing down on her. Back down, or stand tall and risk becoming the angry black woman in everyone's phone videos. She stood tall. "You might want to put that back," she said. Her voice didn't waver. Not yet. But deep inside, the sting of humiliation had already taken root. She wasn't just fighting for a gift now. She was fighting to keep dignity. And the man, he had no idea just how dangerous that was. Because someone else had just entered the aisle, and he wasn't here to shop. Tiana didn't flinch, but the crowd did. A ripple moved through the onlookers. The mother, with 2 kids, quietly pulled them back toward the toy section. The young couple whispered louder now. Someone raised a phone, already recording. Tiana noticed it all. Of course they'd rather film than step in. The man tightened his grip on the box. His fingers were thick, knuckles swollen, the kind of hands that grabbed what they wanted without asking. "You really gonna make this a thing?" he sneered. "Over a gadget you can't even pay for?" His breath smelled like stale coffee. His smirk said he thought he'd already won. Tiana's instincts screamed to yank the box back. But she didn't. Her father's voice echoed again. "Control the room. I suggest you give it back," she said, cool as glass. He barked out a laugh. "Or what? You'll cry racism? Let me save you the trouble. No one here's gonna take your side." He gestured toward the silent crowd. "See? They're already looking at you like you're the problem." And he wasn't wrong. A few faces had that expression. That mix of sympathy and blame, like they were already thinking, why make a scene? Just let him have it. Tiana felt it. The invisible weight. The kind black women carry too often. Be silent. Be small. Don't be difficult. But not today. She stepped forward. "This ends now." The man's face darkened. "You threatening me?" Another voice cut in before she could answer. "Is there a problem here?" The crowd parted slightly. A store employee in a red vest, young, nervous, probably just out of high school. His name tag read Evan. Evan's eyes flicked from Tiana to the man gripping the box. He opened his mouth, but the man beat him to it. "Yeah, she's harassing me. I grabbed this first, and now she's trying to take it. Typical." His smile was wide. Fake. Practiced. like he'd pulled this trick before. Evan hesitated, looked at Tiana, then at the man. The power balance shifted. Not toward Tiana, toward the liar. "You need to leave her alone, sir," Tiana said, voice steady. But Evan didn't back her up. He just fidgeted. Tiana could see the fear in his eyes. Fear of getting it wrong. "Ma'am, maybe we can just," Evan began. But he stopped. His eyes went wide. He wasn't looking at her anymore. He was looking past her. Someone had just stepped into the aisle behind her. And the moment they saw him, even the man holding the box lost his grin. The man's grip tightened. His knuckles went pale against the box's slick packaging. But his eyes? They flickered. Just for a second. Tiana didn't turn around. Didn't need to. Whatever presence had entered the aisle had rattled him, but she refused to give him the satisfaction of knowing she noticed. The crowd had grown. Shoppers abandoned their carts, pretending to browse, eyes locked on the standoff. A few more phones hovered at chest level, recording, waiting. Evan, the employee, cleared his throat. "Sir, maybe you should." The man cut him off. His courage snapped back like a rubber band. "I said I had it first." His voice was louder now, sharper. And people like her always try to take what doesn't belong to them. The words hit Tiana like a slap. Not because they were new, because they were old. Old as every sideways glance, every locked car door, every teacher who assumed she couldn't keep up. He turned, raising the box above his head like a prize. "This is why the rest of us can't get ahead. Always reaching for handouts, always thinking you're owed something." The words weren't just for her now. They were for the crowd, to turn them against her, to paint her as the aggressor. Tiana's breath stayed calm, but her fingers curled into fists at her sides. "That's not what happened," she said. "Simple. Clear," he scoffed. "Of course that's what happened. Ask anyone." He gestured toward the bystanders. "Go ahead. Someone back her up." "Oh wait, no one will." The crowd stayed silent, eyes darting, some full of quiet shame, some filled with cold agreement. It wasn't just humiliation now. It was public erasure. Like her truth meant nothing, like his lie could swallow reality itself. Tiana could feel her face flush, but she refused to drop her gaze. "Last chance," she said. "Put the box down." The man leaned in, breath sour with arrogance. "You don't get to tell me what to do." He smiled, cruel and certain. "Because people like you will always answer to people like me." The words hung heavy. "Final." He turned toward Evan. "Tell security to remove her." But Evan didn't move. His eyes stayed locked past the man now, toward the silent figure who had arrived. Tiana finally turned, and when she saw who it was, her heart stopped. Not from fear, from relief. Her brother. But he didn't speak, didn't raise his voice. He simply took a step forward, eyes hard, shoulders square. And in that moment, everything changed. The man was about to find out exactly who he was trying to humiliate. The man noticed him now. Tall, calm, dark blazer over a sharp button-down. Not flashy, authoritative. "Who the hell are you?" the man barked, masking his sudden unease with bluster. "Mind your business." Tiana's brother didn't flinch, didn't even blink. He just looked at the box gripped in the man's arms, then at Tiana. "That belonged to you?" he asked quietly. Tiana nodded. "I had it first." The man let out a short, mocking laugh. "Oh, I get it. Family's here to fight your battles." He glanced around the crowd, appealing to them again. Figures, always calling in backup. No one laughed. The crowd had shifted. Phones were raised higher now. The mother with the 2 kids had returned, both children clutching her sleeves, wide-eyed. The man didn't notice. He was too busy leaning into the performance he'd built. "You think this is gonna go your way? Hate to break it to you, bro, But this store's got rules, and she was harassing me. He turned to Evan. Go get your manager. Tiana's brother raised one eyebrow. You sure you want that? The man sneered. Damn right I do. Somebody needs to put you people in your place. Silence. Tiana's stomach turned cold. The crowd froze. Even Evan's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The man didn't notice. He was riding the high of his public dominance. This is the problem with this country, he said loudly, pacing now, addressing the crowd like a preacher in front of his congregation. People like me build things, work hard, pay taxes. People like her, he gestured wildly at Tiana, they just take. Another step toward her brother. Chest puffed, arms wide. His voice boomed across the aisle. And if you don't like it, take it up with the owner. The crowd gasped. A woman near the end of the aisle whispered, Oh my God. Tiana's brother's lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. I intend to, he said softly, but I think you should meet him too. The man waved him off. Whatever. I'll sue this whole damn place if you so much as touch me. He turned back to Evan. Well, where's your damn manager? Evan's voice shook. He pointed at Tiana's brother. You're talking to him. The man's face drained of color. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. The power he thought he had? Gone. The man blinked. Once, twice. He looked at Evan like he'd misheard. Then back at Tiana's brother. You? He scoffed. Number you can't beat. You're... His voice faltered. Tiana's brother didn't need to explain. His calm, steady gaze did all the talking. I own this location, he said simply, and 3 more just like it. The man shook his head, chuckling nervously. Number, you're lying. You work here, maybe, but own it? A few murmurs rippled through the crowd. A woman up front nodded. That's him. I've seen him in the commercials. The man's face strained. The bravado was slipping fast. This is a misunderstanding, he tried. Look, I didn't know. You didn't care to know. Tiana's brother cut in. You assumed. He turned to Evan. Go ahead and call security. Not for her. He nodded toward Tiana. For him. The man's eyes went wide. His grip tightened on the box, as if it could shield him from what was coming next. The man's mouth opened, but no words came. His eyes darted around the aisle, searching for someone, anyone to back him up. But the crowd was silent, watching, filming. Tiana's brother stepped forward, closing the space between them. His voice was low, steady. You came in here thinking you could disrespect my sister, thinking no one would stop you. He nodded at the box still clutched in the man's arms. You thought grabbing that made you powerful. The man swallowed hard. Tiana's brother kept going. But real power? It's not in what you take. It's in what you build. I built this. He gestured around the store. Every aisle, every job, every customer. The man let out a shaky breath. I didn't mean anything by it. I was just trying to get the... You meant every word, Tiana said softly, stepping beside her brother now. And now, you'll answer for them. The man looked at Evan desperate. Come on, tell him I didn't know. Evan didn't move. His arms were crossed. His face was set. You need to leave, Evan said quietly. The man took a step back, but the crowd closed in behind him. There was nowhere to run. Security arrived without a word. 2 guards in dark uniforms stepped into the aisle, their presence shifting the air. The man turned, hope flashing in his eyes. Finally, these people are harassing me. One guard raised a hand. Sir, we've reviewed the cameras already. It's all on tape. The man froze. His shoulders sagged. Tiana's brother nodded toward the door. Escort him out. He's banned from this location and any other store I own. The man's face crumbled. You can't do that. I have rights. You had rights, her brother replied, until you used them to harass and humiliate. As the guards took the man by the arms, he looked back one last time. This isn't over. he spat. But no one listened. The crowd didn't boo. They didn't cheer. They just watched, silent, recording. And this time, the phones weren't pointed at Tiana. They were all pointed at him. The man was led out through the front entrance, his protests fading behind him. The automatic doors closed with a soft hiss. The crowd slowly began to disperse, but the energy in the air remained. Tiana's brother turned to Evan. "Thank you for staying calm. You did the right thing." Evan nodded, still wide-eyed. I just didn't want to make it worse." "You didn't," Tiana's brother assured him. "You helped make it right." Tiana looked around at the remaining bystanders. Some offered quiet nods of respect. Others mouthed small apologies. Her brother bent down, picked up the box from where the man had finally dropped it. He held it out to her. "This is yours." Tiana took it, her fingers steady. "And so is your dignity," he added softly. "No one can take that. Not in my store, not anywhere." For the first time since it all began, Tiana allowed herself to breathe fully. Justice hadn't just been served. It had been witnessed. Tiana stood in the center of the aisle, the box cradled in her arms. But it wasn't about the product anymore. It never had been. All around her, the crowd was thinning, but a few lingered. A woman approached, the mother from earlier, the one with the 2 children. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I should have spoken up sooner." Tiana met her gaze. "You stayed. That's more than most." The woman nodded, then guided her children away, but not before her son turned back and gave Tiana a small, proud thumbs up. Her brother placed a hand on her shoulder. "You handled yourself with grace." "I shouldn't have had to," Tiana replied, her voice steady. "But thank you." He smiled faintly. "That's why I built this store. So people like you, like us, don't have to prove our worth just to be treated like human beings." She glanced around. The cameras were still rolling. She knew the video would be online within hours, maybe minutes. And for once, she didn't dread it. This time, the narrative wasn't being twisted. This time, the truth was clear. Not just about what had happened in the aisle, but about power, about dignity, about the simple fact that no matter how loud ignorance tried to shout, it could never drown out resilience. Her brother leaned in. "You know Dad would have been proud." Tiana nodded, emotion tightening her throat. "I know." And as the final customers moved past, she realized this moment wasn't just a fight won. It was a statement, a stand, one that would echo far beyond a single box on a single shelf. The store had almost returned to normal. Carts rolled, announcements played, but something in the air had shifted, like the weight of what had happened still lingered between the aisles. Tiana's brother motioned for her to follow him to the front. As they walked, heads turned. Some offered respectful nods. Others stepped aside, giving her space. By the time they reached the register, the security guards had returned. One of them leaned in quietly. "We've already sent the footage to corporate, and local news if you want it shared." Her brother nodded once. "Let the world see." Tiana watched as the box, the item that had started it all, was scanned and bagged by a cashier who looked nervous but determined. "It's on the house," the cashier whispered. "From all of us." Tiana shook her head. "Number I'll pay. That's not why I stood up today." Her brother smiled. "That's exactly why you deserve it." As they stepped out into the cool evening air, Tiana paused by the front window. Reflected in the glass, she could see the store's logo behind her, the one her brother had designed. Built not just as a business, but as a place where people like them didn't have to justify their worth. Her phone buzzed. A text from a friend. "You're trending." She opened the link. There it was, the video. Already edited, already shared. Millions of views. The title read, "Woman stands her ground against racism, and her brother's response leaves everyone speechless." Comments flooded the post. Some hateful, most supportive, but one stood out. "My daughter just watched this and said, She's a hero. Thank you." Tiana swallowed hard. The fight had started with a single insult, but it had ended with a message that would ripple far beyond that store, that day. Her brother stepped beside her, handing her the box. "You didn't just buy this," he said. "You earned respect. For yourself. For every young Black woman watching." She took the box, holding it close. But it wasn't the tablet she felt the weight of. It was her father's lessons, her brother's trust, the eyes of strangers who had witnessed not just injustice, but resilience. She looked out over the parking lot, headlights passing like stars in the night. And she whispered to herself, "A promise. Never again will I let silence be louder than my truth." As she and her brother walked toward the car, a child inside the store pressed a hand against the window, watching her with wide, hopeful eyes. Tiana smiled, not for the cameras, not for the crowd, but for the next generation. The script had been flipped, and this time, it would stay that way.